This is in reference to Dr. Paul Krugman's article in the New York Times dated Friday, January 9th, 2015, Voodoo Time Machine, or as I would like to say, Voodoo Economics, it's alive! So, he basically, Dr. Krugman, again, I think it's so important that he continues to bring up the economic aspect of what's been going on with my sisters and brothers on the conservative side who don't really have a perception of reality. So the first thing that he starts out with is Mitch McConnell basically bragging that the economy has gotten better for the last 6 months with the anticipation of there being Republican control of Congress. Now, I don't know about you. I'm only speaking for myself. But, when the economy started to turn around, I shouldn't say turn around, it started to grow more and more. It isn't because of Republican policies that it started to grow more. It's because of the engine, the economic engine of the United States. And because of the policies of the Federal Reserve, because of the stimulus that was brought in by Obama, by the fact that the American Care Act is working and 10 million people or more people are on it now. These are the things that is helping drive the economy, making it believe. And taking credit for the economy, basically is a scary premise because they actually believe that the policies that they're advocating are what is causing the economy to go better when it isn't that case at all. So basically, they're believing in their own bullshit, which is basically what they do. Now, if we make a few quick points, the Affordable Care Act. If you listen to, as we like to call, the right-wing scheme machine, the right-wing scheme machine basically says that the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, which I will call Barry Care, is going to fall under its own weight. Death panels, by falling under its own weight, is that there'll be so many sick people that we have to pay for that it'll die off. That hasn't happened. In fact, in many states, I believe there's, I don't remember the number, but in many states, more insurance companies are trying to get into the ACA game than got into it last year. And they're offering very competitive policies. Now, are they still going to try and screw people over? Of course they are. That's what they do. But they want to get into the game. And they are going to provide insurance. The rates are going to be competitive. And what we are finding out now, of course, our friends on the other side are going to say, oh, the rates are still going up. Yes, but the rates are still going up 1, 2, 3, 4%, as opposed to 11, 12, 13%, like they had been for for a long time. And of course, now we have Texas possibly looking at going into the ACA. What was the other one? Was it Florida? I can't remember. There was one other one offhand. I can't remember. But but Texas came in. Boom! Wow. That would basically force every other Republican governor to find some type of way to get involved in the ACA. So it's working. Of course, you see, here we have what's going on in the States as opposed to what's going on in Washington, D.C., where Mitch McConnell, who basically calls the website for K-Care or Kentucky Care or whatever they call it, just a website where it's basically it's a state website, but it's basically attached to the Affordable Care Act. And that's how it works. So he wants to get it with a tooth and nail, and we'll see what they come up with because they're in control. Let's see how much they'll run to their base. Let's see how much they'll run to the Koch brothers and everyone else, Sheldon Adelson, whoever else is those rich guys. So now we also have the economic policy. Economic policy is it grew by 5%. Is it going to continue to grow by 5%? I'd like to say so, but it probably won't grow by 5%. There are a lot of factors that brought that 5%. Is there steady growth in the United States economy? Yes, there is. Has there been steady growth for the longest period of time ever? Yes, there has. From, some point in 2009, when we started getting the negative, we brought up all of the hundreds of thousands of jobs that have been lost. That started in the Bush administration, continued at the beginning of the Obama administration. And of course, since then, there's been 10 million new jobs, and about 7 million altogether, because if you take out the hundreds of thousands or the few million right at the start of the Obama administration, over 10 million have been created, and a net gain of over 7 million. So the economic policy is working. It's working slowly, and of course the stimulus helped that. Now, what does Dr. Krugman have to say about that? Well, the important thing to remember is that the stimulus did work, and that what they did in Europe is what the Republicans, our friends on the Republican side, wanted to do in the United States, which was extreme austerity measures, even more extreme than what happened in the United States. And what's going on over there? They're close to deflation. They're close to the money being worth less than, worth less than what it really is. So in terms of the economy, we have the Republicans basically saying that they're still crying about inflation. They're still crying about interest rates. They haven't gone up in 6 or 7 years. None of this stuff that they predicted has happened. And of course, the next thing is climate change. So who's going to head the environmental policy, environmental committee in the Senate? James Imhoff from Oklahoma. I saw one of the funniest things. I think it was the summer of 2013, maybe 2012. They had the average temperature in every county at 12 p.m. At 12 midnight. Every county in Oklahoma, like in 2013, and I think that every single county had over 90 degrees at that particular time at night. All right. And it's, again, 2014, the hottest year on record. And of course, Imhoff believes that it's a hoax, and just loves to say, oh, Jesus would never do that to us. Jesus would never do that to us. I don't know. When you put your faith in something that was written 2,000 years ago, that has nothing to do with economics, that has nothing to do with climate, that has nothing to do with healthcare. It's tough to say that's going to roll out and just take care of you. And of course, again, they've been wrong. They've been wrong about the ACA. They've been wrong about economic policy. They've been wrong about environmental. They've been wrong about climate change. I hate to think that we would be if we would be as Europe is, we would be in really, really serious trouble. Now remember, these people have never taken credit for anything wrong that they've ever said. Paul Ryan's been crying about interest rates and inflation for years. Has he ever said anything about it that he's been wrong for the last 6 years? No. I think there was I can't remember, but I think from my recollection, it was from an old TV show back in the 60s, Car 54, Where Are You? And they were singing about never, never. And then the guy goes, what, never? And then the other guy says, well, hardly ever. No, but these guys never, never, ever will accept any responsibility for anything wrong that they said at any time in the past. And that is really, really scary. And, as Dr. Krugman points out, when you have the Tea Party and what they believe in has absolutely nothing to do with reality, how can you even have a discussion where you can come to some type of conclusion as to this is where you stand, this is where I stand, this is how we could possibly meet in the middle when their position doesn't even mesh with reality, doesn't even come close to reality. And, we're in for a lot of trouble coming up because, again, on the economic front, on the ACA front, on the climate front, they're not accepting anything. Now, and of course, the headlines for the last couple of days have been on the tragedy that happened in France. But here's the thing: all I've been hearing from them on that part, this has nothing to do with Dr. Krugman's policy article, but all I've been hearing from them on their part is Obama's weak again, and we need to go to perpetual war, and we need to kill the jihad. But that, I don't even want to go into that. But again, everything is against Obama. Anything that Obama wants, we have to be against. And these are things that really are going to hurt us because we need infrastructure spending. We need to increase spending for schools. We need educational spending. We need, Obama wants to do things for students so that they could all go to community college. Gosh, my kids could have used that, at that particular time. It's almost too late for them to go back now. But again, when you're dealing with people who don't want to believe in reality, it's hard to find some type of consensus. We're in for a really rough year with the Republicans.